sorts of sports. All sorts of sports.
Schwartz, all Schwartz with sports.
In your,
asshole
TV screen. Or phone. Probably phone.
Thinking phone.
Probably phone. Most likely a phone.
Laptop,
you might not even be looking.
computer.
Probably listening like I do when I do YouTube at work.
If somebody's watching us on a laptop, like what? Are you working? Or
Yeah, I do that.
I feel like laptop's weird energy for me watching this show.
Laptop, I just feel like that's like the lowest percentage of screens. Like, because it's just like, why?
I look at the data.
Why?
I look at the data. But like overseas, a lot of people use laptops.
Yeah, we're really popular in Russia. I'm joking.
Fair enough.
India.
So welcome to a new episode
Slava,
of
Ukraine.
Sports. I do not remember what number this is.
132-ish.
Okay. One in Magic Johnson. That's where we are, 132. We're getting deep in the numbers. And we're here to talk about some football. So I want to start off with Panthers fire Matt Rhule. A lot of us probably saw it coming after that ass whooping on Sunday, but I want to give you guys a little insight into just a little insider knowledge that nobody else has. Because I'm here in Charlotte, I work with a guy who's a season ticket holder for the Panthers. I won't say how much he spent, $3,000 on his season tickets. But please don't fire me. But he ended up getting interviewed after like Matt Rhule got fired, and like there's a clip of him like, and he's talking about like, basically, he's glad he got fired. He's like, it's messed up situation, but he just wasn't getting it done. But basically, so at the game on Sunday, apparently, Matt Rhule got a lot of boos. Like before the game even started, like the Panther family was like, fire him. Like, I don't think, I know we've heard boos directed at Baker or whatever, and like that was the thing because Baker responded to it or whatever, but I don't know if they know this, but it had a lot to do with Matt Rhule. And I just want to make that clear. So he got fired. I think he won a total of, I want to say 13 games in his 4 seasons. And he's going to make another, I think maybe another 40 mil.
Yeah, 42 or 47, one of those two.
Yeah, something like that.
11 games.
Legendary contract after winning 13 games.
29%, 11 games, 29% winning percentage.
Was it just 11?
11.
Oh, wow.
5-year 1, 5-year 2, 1 this year.
Damn, I'm tripping. Okay, crazy. So with that said, I want to ask you guys, do you think they should have waited? Do you think they should have done this sooner, even after last season? Like, what are your thoughts on the firing? Your general thoughts, and then I'll follow up with that.
General thoughts. They're probably going to blow up the whole team. Tepper probably should have done this in the offseason. I don't think 5 games into this is going to determine, to let him go. McCaffrey has been consistently hurt. I heard the Bills are reaching out for him. They should probably think about it and just go into full rebuild. They have a couple pieces on that team. I know DJ Moore is ready to get out of there.
Baltimore native.
He went to Maryland.
Yeah, Baltimore native.
Steve Smith 2.0. Is that what y'all hoping for?
I mean, looking at his press conferences, this shit is funny.
He ready to go.
But I mean, Matt Rhule, I was done with him after that shit he said about DJ Moore and the receivers on the team. When he was like, oh yeah, the receivers just need to get open. And it's like, if you watch film, which we all do, they are open. Baker's just not hitting them.
That's why I like DJ Moore's response to it. Yeah. It was like, everybody's open, nobody's open. Kind of depends on the quarterback, doesn't it? And it was just like, it does.
He just smiled and he was like, I ain't got nothing to say about that, man.
Yeah.
Like what you want me to
get that man to Lamar Jackson immediately. He want to make some money.
Shit.
Look,
Lamar
man,
might not be there.
Matt Rhule's not anybody blowing anybody's skirt up, but I mean, he's not some prodigy or some shit. But you're also talking about an owner that's trying desperately to put his own mark on the team, thus him getting Ron Rivera mad quick, to try to get like somebody that he can get excited about. But I mean, they go Teddy Bridgewater, and I think Teddy got hurt, and then they try to retread Cam Newton and Sam Darnold, and now Baker, which I thought Baker would be an upgrade. He's not. Clearly, Baker, it's over. I don't know. I don't know if look, Steve Wilkes getting the job. I don't know if this changes their trajectory for the rest of the season, but you could tell he had lost the locker room. There were reports coming out all year about how much he had lost the locker room. And I think that's something they're trying to stem off so they're to figure out what pieces they can have to rebuild. What guys are bought into the culture as far as the team. What do they need necessarily to keep anybody around or to try to make it an enticing job going forward? But I mean, I kind of expected that they kind of were in rebuild mode. I don't know exactly what it is that they're doing. I don't know. Like, what is rebuild? The only guys worth a damn are what? DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, and then Jeremy Chin, who just got drafted. So what?
And then the D-line too.
Yeah,
to your
and they're young, right?
To your point with that, K-Dot, just real quick, the Ringer does like an investment. I forget what it's called. It was like an investment index in terms of how much money are you putting into your team, like based on like you being a contender, how much money are you spending on your team, and like all that good stuff. The Ringer did a report. Like, I mean, they put this out before the season, right? And they had the Panthers ranked 11th in terms of like the money flowing into the team and like everything and all that. And it was like they, based off the talent, the Ringer report was basically saying you shouldn't be here. You should be down here. You're spending a lot of money. You're paying your team like you're a contender, but you're really not. And so that's what they were saying. So, for example, just to add some more. The Panthers owe $20 million to the following in 2023. DJ Moore, $25 million. Taylor Moton, $24.5. Shaq Thompson, $24.4. Robbie Anderson, $21.7. CMC, $19.5. Matt Rhule, $20. And that's just 2023. If I'm them, I'm with you guys. I'm unloading. DJ Moore, you can go. CMC, you can go. I'd love to do. I told a friend my CMC suggestion is if you're going to trade him to the Bills, give me a first, and I want James Cook. And we're good, and that's all I need. But DJ Moore, give me a second, give me a third, doesn't matter.
They'll get more than that.
They don't have a bunch of picks.
They'll get a lot more than that.
No, they won't.
They will.
Like Carolina,
they don't depend on James Cook, one, and two. The first round pick is going to be late as fuck. Like, this is essentially a second.
I don't know. Carolina is just, I'm waiting to see that be a job that anybody really cares about until they get like a quarterback in the room that makes it exciting. I think that they're going to be treading water for a bit. And that's just what it is. Cause I mean, I look historically at Carolina, they had early on, you had the Jake Delhomme, we're running the ball through Stephen Davis and the Deshaun Foster years. Then you go into we're mid for a while. And then Cam Newton comes out of fucking nowhere and blows everybody away. And now he's gone. So we're back to being Carolina, which is kind of the forgotten franchise, right? I think you put a gun to most people's head and ask where in Carolina do the Panthers play? Be a lot of dead people.
I wouldn't have known until I moved here.
He moved to Charlotte. He's like, oh shit, the Panthers played
here. Charlotte, but that's not the point.
But and Charlotte's not a bad city either.
Oh, it's not, but it's just. But that's the thing. It's just it doesn't register for anybody.
No. So I want to add.
It's kind of weird they have a team.
What?
Yeah, I think it's a little weird y'all have a team.
I mean,
I feel like there's other cities that deserve a team.
It's a I mean, a good mid-sized city. I mean, well, it's not even it's mid-sized.
I feel like you guys have finally gotten to the point as a city where you deserve a team, but you haven't deserved a team for the last 20 years.
I'm not a Charlotte guy originally, so I'm not necessarily disagreeing.
You see how he went from like he was defending and he's like, you know what? Nah, fuck this.
No, like I'm not from here. He said he mentioned the last 20 years. I'm not from here.
Right. So, he's one of the new influx of people that made Charlotte worth
right. And to be fair, they have an influx. It's a growing city. It's that type of city where it's like, so this is just an aside. lot of people talk about how who live here talk about how Charlotte doesn't necessarily have a culture. Like, like Memphis has a culture. DC has a culture. Like Charlotte has a bunch of transplants.
Oh yeah,
that
DC
live here because they moved from everywhere, and it's a very growing city, but like there aren't things that tie people to the necessarily, just Charlotte, I feel like. But in 20 years, I think it'll be different. So but I said it's
a bunch of white yuppies and no one can afford to be there.
Is it like a DC situation where the people there are essentially rotated every few years?
Nothing's like DC.
I wouldn't say so Charlotte is what Atlanta was in the 1980s, if that makes sense to you. Okay. So before, like, it's up with better in terms of like where they are for the growth, with better architecture, because the traffic is never that bad.
I think the 80s is probably a good decade for it, because it's not the gentrification flight of the 90s and the 2000s. It's, hey, this city's much more affordable than other places. It's kind of cool. It's like a little hidden gem. Let's go there.
Yeah. I actually looked at Charlotte, like,
except for
like a year ago.
Yes.
I almost moved there like a year ago.
All right, we're done with Charlotte and Matt Rhule.
Yeah, let's get off of Charlotte. I wanted to mention D'Amico Ryans. So they played the 49ers on Sunday, and somebody was suggesting like that D'Amico Ryans, who is the defensive coordinator for the 49ers now, he should just stay in Charlotte and look at real estate property. So I do think he probably be, the way he's killing it with the 49ers this year, probably be a great coach, a great head coach candidate. He's young. He's only 38. I remember when he was picked in the second round, watching him play and stuff like that. So I don't know which direction they're going to go, but they should definitely rebuild, start over, and ship out all the talent so they can continue to lose games.
You know what? That would be my issue, though. You ship out all the talent, and then you want D'Amico Ryans to come in?
No, I understand that. So, okay, not all right. Don't ship out all of the talent. Ship out all of the expensive talent. Because with that, I think they've drafted well over the last few years.
They have.
They got J.C. Horn, who is still on a rookie contract. Derek Brown still on a rookie contract. Like, they got a couple other pieces that are still on rookie contracts that you're like, hey, they'll be in year 3, D'Amico, when you get here. You can turn that into what the Giants are this season, which is a team that is average in terms of talent, but has a couple good pieces. But they just need some coaching.
Like the dream scenario, I think, would be they get D'Amico, right? Mm-hmm. They ship out all of the expensive talents, but for talent that's on rookie deals, like not just necessarily draft picks.
No, you keep that,
right? But then you get Bryce Young in the first round.
No. Why? I'm not a believer. You get CJ Stroud. I'm not a believer.
Okay, look, fine. One of them.
You get the guy. You get your guy.
Whoever you believe in, get him. Yeah. And then guess what? Now you have your window. Yeah. And then guess what? You got the owner that's going to spend the money, like how the Mets owner is, because he's like a fan, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to put out the money for this.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So that does it for Charlotte. Let's move on. I wanted to get into the NFC East, but instead of the NFC East, I want to pause, because last night at Monday Night Football, we record this on Tuesdays, the Raiders lost a close game to the Chiefs. Fun fact, just a real quick fact: the Chiefs were down by 17 points, whatever, at one point, and this they came back and won. But Mahomes is now 12-9. when he's down by 10 plus points as a starter. I think the winning percentage for all other quarterbacks since he's been drafted, because that's when they're just basing this stat tracking off of, is like 18%. He's 12-9. It doesn't matter. You could be up 20-22. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to speak to Mahomes about that. But in that, after the game, it was a tough loss. I don't know if you guys saw it, if everybody saw it, but toward the end of the game, Davante Adams had a ball that would have put the Raiders in good field goal position. And I was going up against them in fantasy in one league, and the other person needed 3 points to tie me and 4 points to win. And Davante Adams basically bobbled the ball, didn't get the catch. And so the Raiders stayed on fourth down. They didn't convert or whatever, lost the game. Also decided to go for 2 earlier in the game with about 4 minutes and 20 seconds left, when they could have just tied it with a field goal. That was a questionable decision. I kind of understood where they went, what their thinking was for that. I'll be honest. I probably would have kicked it still, but I get their thinking. After the game, Davante Adams is seen pushing like a stadium worker basically to the ground and like kind of just walking by him.
Boom, bitch.
And the guy has apparently went to the hospital and is filed a report or whatever, and he is injured, and I believe we know what's next.
Well, the police said it was a non-life-threatening injury.
That man is not injured at all. Like, that man got up right
hurt.
at the...
He hurt.
He hurt.
He hurt now.
I was telling somebody today, I wouldn't got up.
Yeah. Listen, hey,
I'd still be on the goddamn.
I'm Ezeling Friday. My neck and my back. Oh, my neck and my back. I want 150,000.
Y'all would have seen me flipping over and hitting the goddamn wall, standing up, falling back down.
All right, we can't get famous because now people gonna do that shit to y'all. They're just gonna walk in front of you and you're gonna push them and they're gonna be like, "Oh,
try your best. Try your best."
But
you can't sue me if I'm always broke, bitch.
You guys saw the second angle, right? Where Davante's walking and like he's looking down and the dude walks straight in front of him with the little metal
boom mic.
Yeah. Or whatever the fuck it was. And he's like, and then he apologized as soon as he got to the locker room. They apologized again in the press conference.
We fucked up.
Yeah, like he definitely did, but
yeah,
like people are gonna make more of it than what it should be.
What's your concern index about your Raiders, James?
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We are not doing this. We are not doing
all right.
this.
We lost.
Do you guys question, because this
lost.
is the question. Should Davante Adams be suspended? Because
this is stupid.
Yes.
You don't truly believe that.
I 100%
believe it. So yes, I believe it as well. Yes.
You believe he should be suspended for this?
100%.
I do. Bro. Here's my thing.
Can't do that.
It's only because he's only mad because of a loss, right? Like he's mad because of a loss and he just pushed the guy, just push the guy. And that's
that's not what he did.
I don't think he's a violent person.
That's not what he did
about him at home or anything. It's just, bro, like you got to control yourself is my thing.
Okay, that's wrong though. You made it seem like he just walked up and just like randomly just pushed somebody. He pushed somebody that walked in front of him.
James, listen.
Okay.
If he's not angry about the loss, is his reaction as far as moving that gentleman out of the...
All right, did he walk in front of him? Yes or no?
Yes, people can walk in front of you. It doesn't mean you violently shove them out of the way.
That is true, but I don't want the rhetoric to be that he just randomly...
No one's saying that. No, we can have context in the conversation, which is what we're having right here, right? Which is the context of the conversation is after a loss and you're walking off the field where there are hundreds of people walking all around you, you can't do that. Like, I can understand being upset. You see, the thing is that you're lining everything up the way it happened. 30 seconds before that, you see him throwing his helmet angrily at the ground. Yeah. And now he's walking off the field. And look, dude should have been paying more attention to not walk directly in his path. Get it. But even if you do that, it's more of a like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like, even if he did one of those, cool. But you shoved the shit out of dude. That's what happened. Dude went flying. Like, there's also a matter of, like, I know the big black Negro bullshit, but Davante Adams is an NFL athlete. This motherfucker's holding around a boom mic. He's boom bitch. It's not fair. Like, you can't do that.
Like, I don't want to be misunderstood. Like, we all agree that he shouldn't have done it.
No, right. But what are the consequences for doing that? And that to me is like, if you look, Davante, the same way that Davante can be seen when he was earlier, was it this season or even in the Packers uniform, where there was somebody that got ran over on the sideline. He was quick to be there to help him out. This is not indicative of Davante's character, 100%. But
hold on, it is.
I'm not going that far. I'm not going completely that far.
No, not like, and that's why I said
he might have some anger issues.
Not even. I'm not even gonna go that far. But here's the thing. Like you said, he helped the guy up earlier in the season, right? After the loss, we all saw the video. He pushed the guy down and he kept going. That's the shit for me. It's not even the push for me. It's you was pissed and you were so angry and you were so angry in that moment because everybody knows this. Your mindset can take over wherever you are. So maybe you're too emotional, you're too sad to do something, you're too angry to do something, you're too horny, whatever. Doesn't matter. But He was so angry in that moment that he was just like, push this guy down. I'm gonna keep going. Suspension, not more than a game or anything. Like even for a half. Hey, suspend him for a fucking half. I prefer just give him a big fine. Give him a big fine. Big fine, and also you owe that man $250,000. And I say that because here's the thing. Just as a normal human being, as a citizen, I feel like I should be able to walk and work closely and be free in my job and not be worried about my safety. Right. And in that situation, you are now putting me in danger. And I'm not saying again he gonna beat the shit out of the man. He not gonna do that, right? Like we don't believe Davante Adams is gonna do some AB type shit and go crazy and like beat the shit out of this man. But just for worst case scenario, he pushed the man and maybe he falls on something, or he pushed the man and that man might have already pre-existing injuries and he further injures something that man has. I'm just saying, what I'm saying? It's just
that's true, but it's also the other way around.
Yes, but
he had a metal object in his hand, and he walked really close to him.
He didn't walk up. Up to him. He's walking by him, though. It's like me walking to you, and you're going like this.
You're not James. It's the end of the fucking game, and there are guys walking around with devices to pick up audio and to take recordings of after the game. It's not the first time he's seen somebody with a boom mic walking by him.
We're not acting like he was wrong. I mean, he was right.
Yeah, but I'm saying is that the point is that the want to defend him is you don't have to do that.
There's no defense here. But what I'm saying is we're going a little bit too overboard to say you should suspend somebody for this. Like that's a little crazy to me.
You shoved it. Look, here's
that's just crazy.
No, but here's the full context of this.
Okay.
Was that part of the game? Was that a teammate in practice?
No.
It was a person doing their job and he just got assaulted. So we can keep it there in the sense of where it is from an assault standpoint. If somebody walks in front of you at the mall, then you fucking shove them and they decide to call the cops on you, what's going to happen to you?
I don't look at it that way, but it's what it is.
That's how it has to be looked at. That's the whole thing.
Assault and all this other
look, this dude is going to get a payday. And look, a person allowed that wouldn't fucking do the same goddamn thing.
Good.
But and that's the point of it, is that Davante has, and that's why he ate it. He owned it, right? Yeah. And that's the good thing. He owned it. I was angry. I was upset. I'm apologizing, and I hope dude sees it. Cool. And what you need to do is the league has to come down and say, we need to make sure that the guys that are on the field doing their jobs are protected and we're looking out for them. So here we go. 1-2 game suspension tops. And it's it. And we move on from it.
One is more than enough, I think. 2 is too much. Half a game fine.
Just find the man. He's gonna pay homeboy for falling over. He got right back up. He's
fine and pay that man.
Fucking dying and
pay that man. He shouldn't have to work anymore if he don't want to.
Yeah.
Huh? Even if you get all right.
Oh well, I don't mean
you know what?
He gets to chill at home for a few years.
Every single time that there's a close game, and every single time it's a close game, and a team loses, everybody just gonna run right in front of them dudes as they leave the field.
So what? Don't shove them.
Okay.
$250K.
Yeah,
it's $250K.
And it's was he even supposed to be in that area? I don't know.
But I say that also Oakland is now 1-4.
Las Vegas.
You right, damn. If they're gonna fail to be Oakland, gonna be able to be Oakland to me. But even though I love Vegas more as a city, but I ain't been to Oakland. I gotta go one day.
Vegas. How I feel about Oakland.
I know you can't go.
I know.
Damn, you ain't allowed out there.
I ain't allowed out there.
No.
All right, but the Vegas. Let's move it along because
although if I cut my hair, I look like E40.
K-Dot's got to go. The Vegas Raiders are off to a 1-4 start. James, this is just your time to shine.
All right. Well, we didn't get embarrassed. We lost.
Some people won't leave. I'm embarrassing.
I mean, other teams on here have given up more.
Yeah.
And they weren't embarrassed.
Not more, but we did the same, and it was embarrassing.
No, you weren't here. You weren't here. You didn't show up. You didn't show up to talk about it.
Right, embarrassment.
No, I showed up for our 17-point lead.
No, he was there for that one.
Was that?
No, the Bills is just 10. It was
Bills
10. I don't give a
The
fuck
Bills
about
was
that.
10?
It's 10 points.
Oh. Well, I
Touchdown
mean,
and a field goal.
all right. So
What we talking about?
talking about it, like you brought up Patrick Mahomes stats. Like it's 12-9. It's not Tua. Like there's a difference. So I mean, it sucks. We got a bye week, so they got more time to sit on it. They have gotten better. It's just we've had a bunch of rough stretches. Like it's 5 weeks or 1-4. We beat Denver. We lost to San Diego. We lost to Kansas City. We lost to the Cardinals. We gave up a 20-point lead there. We got to learn how to win. But I do like what I'm seeing from Josh Jacobs. Over 150
point.
again.
Quick point. To your point, James, the Cardinals look decent. You know what I'm saying? Like earlier in the season, everybody thought they were the worst team in the league. They look decent now. Does that change that loss for you?
Oh, it's a pendulum.
I'm serious about that. I'm dead ass serious about that though.
I don't believe it. I don't believe in it. So
you don't have to.
What is your hold on? Somebody Ryan Clark said this after the game. Are you guys? There's a 5-point differential you guys have with your record. That's fucking nuts.
I know
they went fucking 8-3 last year in one score games. It happens, bro. You can look at it historically. Anybody.
All right, let me talk about the team.
They flip.
Let me talk about the team. A lot of people are forgetting the fact that this is a new offense. Does that not give you any pause at all?
No, it does. But because of that, I would have never said the fuckers were gonna go 13-4. But hey, it's not me. It's not me.
I mean, it is what it is. Like that's what I was feeling. And I still feel that way.
You know,
I'm ashamed of saying 11-6.
Don't be, because when you look at it, when we went to the Super Bowl, we started 4-0. We went 0-4 after that, and then we won 8 straight.
Are you talking about 2001?
2000, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it is what it is. If it happens, it happens. We got a pretty nice little run right after the bye week. The next 6 is not that bad.
I was looking at it. Y'all do. I was like, here we go.
So like the thing is, like,
here we go.
Without Devante for 2 games.
You would love that too. Misery loves company. You gotta watch your fucking team. We'll get to it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. The whole world gonna see that shit on Thursday.
We got the same record, bitch. Stop saying shit.
Nah, fuck you.
James is not picking the Commanders on Thursday.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? It's like, we played the Chiefs tough. They're one of the best teams in the league, and we lost to them by 1, and we had a chance to win the game. Because if we would have went up by 2, we actually stopped them when they got the ball back, and that would have been game. But we didn't do it. We didn't come up with the plays when we needed it. And I mean, the shit sucks, but we're not a bad team, which is the part that I care about a lot too. So we don't look bad. We just don't win, which is fucking terrible.
Can I make one point? I don't really want to talk about the Raiders all that much, but I will say this. As far as the going for 2, Bill Simmons put out a tweet last night, and I agree with it wholeheartedly.
I know what tweet you referenced.
In 2022, an NFL head coach would jump out of a 4th floor window because analytics say it's fashion to take it the stairs. We have to get a hold of this analytics shit.
That's not true.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
That's not true. That's not true. I'm riding with the Raiders on that one.
That's some bullshit too. Josh Jacobs had 150-some yards rushing. They couldn't stop him.
I know.
So that's why you give them the chance to get the go for it there. And then it's like, you also still got to deal with Patrick Mahomes.
My thing was that there was the upside compared to the downside of that.
The upside is we win the game.
All right, guys.
Where are they getting the field goal range?
We can go back.
They didn't do it though.
For the going for 2.
Y'all didn't get the points you needed after you didn't get it.
I personally
had a shot
going for 2.
Or you're at least in overtime.
Guys. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. We're talking about a 1-4 team here. So guys,
let's talk about another 1-4. Okay,
right? Because we're gonna do that shit too.
We're gonna transition to 1, but not immediately.
There we go.
We're gonna transition. I want to flip that, get that reciprocal of that number, and let's go to a 4-1 team. Giants. They upset the Packers in London. And that they're now 4-1. I think they were down by what 10? Was it 10 at halftime or 3? Was it 3? Something like that. I don't remember. They were down at halftime, turned it around, scored a bunch of points in the second half, beat them 27-22. So my question to y'all: are the Giants legit? Yes or no?
Yeah. They are.
They are a scrappy team that by running the ball correctly with Saquon Barkley and Dable. Remember, I was the only one that said I still give Daniel Jones a year, right? I was firm on that. Mm-hmm. They can hang with anyone as far as just any given Sunday. That's one of those scrappy teams. It's kind of like they're doing what Detroit should be doing, which is putting wins in the column with being how scrappy they are, right? Like there's more of a winning formula with what they have going on in New York because of Saquon Barkley controlling the clock and doing certain things that way. And then also with Daniel Jones, he does have some playmaking abilities to just pull something out of his ass. It's very much to me, if that defense, which is doing fairly well, if they get better, this to me feels like those giant Super Bowl runs. I'm not saying they're going to Super Bowl, but it always feels like those two giant Super Bowl runs. Those were teams that kind of got overlooked. Nobody was picking them in the preseason. Eli Manning wasn't doing anything spectacular, but they just found ways to win games. And that to me that's the mark of a team that's trending in the right direction. I don't know exactly who they are by the end of the season, but I do know that on any given Sunday, I think they got a shot.
I respect 2 of the wins.
The question is, are they legit? And the answer is no. In terms of them being playoff contenders, I don't see them being playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders, any of that. It does, to be fair to K-Dot, it does give me that feel of like that old 2011 run or that 07 run because of like they're doing it defensively, like they got a good quarterback rush, right? And they have the Ravens former coordinator, Wink Martindale. He's going to blitz the shit out of you and all that stuff. They've drafted well on the defensive end. They got some young guys, but they haven't really beaten anybody outside of the Packers. But that's also, they did that in London. London games are always kind of weird. And so but credit to Brian DeBoer, because I think he's done a good job. I think what you have here is an average team that's believed, locked in, and they're winning games. And I think, and if you look at their schedule as the season progresses, they won't keep winning games.
I don't know about that.
I was like, because look, if they beat y'all, right?
I don't see that happening.
We said the same shit about the Packers, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but that's in London.
If they beat y'all,
okay,
and they're playing at home, so if they beat y'all, they'll beat the Giants. I could see them beating the Seahawks. I could see. You mean they'll beat
the Jaguars?
I said, I see them beating the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the Texans. They can beat the Lions. They play the Cowboys again. It was a 7-point game the first time they played. So maybe it's a divisional game. Then after that, they have the Commanders. Y'all have Sam Howell in by then. I forgot his name. What's his name?
I'm not helping you.
Huh?
Not helping you.
Whatever. Fuck him. Whatever his name is. We'll have him in there.
We got the same record, asshole.
We're better than you.
And now the record doesn't say so.
Right. So you know what? You are what your record is.
So, damn right. We're the goddamn same.
Yep. Uh-huh.
So
we'll see where we are next week.
I think they lose their next 2. I think they beat the Seahawks. They beat the Texans. They lose to the Lions. They lose to the Cowboys. I don't know about the Commanders. I really don't know. They don't beat Philly. Again, I don't know about the Commanders. They don't beat Minnesota on the road. They don't beat the Colts, and they don't beat the Eagles again. So that's just they're losing at least 5 games for me. At least 5. I said 7 in that, but they're losing at least 5 for me.
If they lose at least 5, that puts them at 6 losses overall. They're in the playoffs.
Right, but again, I think they'll lose 7. But I'm just saying, the thing is, at least 5.
When you talk about the last game of the year, if the Eagles have the division locked up already, they're not going to play their starters.
For sure. That Seattle team is scrappy as well. So I mean,
yeah, but you instantly gave them a loss to the Jaguars.
No, I said they'll lose their next 2, which is the Ravens and the Jaguars, and then I gave them Seattle on the road, which they could lose.
I'm saying you said they would lose to the Jaguars.
No, I'm saying they'll beat the Jaguars. So the next 2 games are the Ravens and then the Jaguars. I think they'll lose their next 2 games, which puts them at 4-3.
Am I hearing this
wrong?
No,
he's tripping. You're saying the completely opposite thing every time you just showed up.
I was
the Giants are going to lose their next 2 games.
They're going to lose their next 2 games and then beat Seattle. That's all. Just keep it there.
That's what I said. Yeah,
I know. James keeps asking you something, and then you dance back and forth on the answer. You fucked it up, but I understand where I
fucked it up.
You both fucked it up.
I'm saying
whatever.
The Giants are going to lose their next 2 games. Their next 2 games are Ravens at home.
Saying that they're not going to beat the Jaguars.
Nope.
They're not going to beat the Jaguars.
And I was like, that's crazy to me for you to say that they're not going to beat the Jaguars.
They're going to beat the Jaguars. I mean, they're not going
to beat the Jaguars.
And I think they are.
They have the Jaguars on the road.
Tomato, who's on first?
The Jaguars have a home field advantage? Color me.
No, they don't. Unless they're scared of clowns. Everybody dresses up as clowns.
Same way. I've never looked at the Cowboys as having a home field advantage either. So, okay.
I think before the season, I gave the Giants probably like a 6 or 7 win season. Let me see where I'm at. Right here. I can pick it up real quick.
I had the Giants winning 2 games. They've already doubled. I'm just going to switch my Giants and Commanders predictions.
Actually, I know I didn't. I changed it. I did. The Giants are 4 wins. So, hey, they're 12-game losing streak from here on out for me. But that was obviously wrong. You need to switch them with the Commanders, who I have at 7-9. That's about where the Giants will be. And so I think the Giants will finish somewhere around there. I don't see them making the playoffs, but hey, they could. But Brian's doing a good job. Their schedule isn't super tough, but I got them losing at a minimum of 5, but at least 7.
You know what they could do? If they do that and they get a nice little draft pick, enough to draft a QB, ship Daniel Jones down to Carolina.
I'm not shipping Daniel Jones any fucking where if they do this. If they
put up a double-digit win. He's their backup quarterback from now.
Nah, because he needs to get paid. I think his deal's up.
Moving on to the shit team in the NFC East. Ron Rivera made some comments about the quarterback situation there in Washington. I believe a reporter asked, what's the difference, with the other NFC East teams that are winning, because they're all literally all of the other NFC East teams have a maximum of 1 loss. And the Commanders have a maximum of 1 win. And so with that said,
you tried to say that profoundly. Fuck you.
Ron responded with quarterback.
But did you watch it?
Then he added some context, and which was like they have a specific type of quarterback and blah blah blah. But did
you see the context he added to that?
Yes.
I'm asking Keem.
The one I posted, was it the one I posted?
I posted one. Yeah. Well, you posted the Carson Wentz channel.
Yeah, I mean, I also posted like the context that he added within the.
So there was context that he added yesterday, which didn't make it much better because it just didn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? Cooper Rush, Daniel Jones is in a first-year system with Brian. Like, it made no sense. So he came out today and he apologized. He said he was having a really bad day yesterday. He talked to the team this morning, clarified whether he should have known better to not completely clarify his thoughts before he says something and just leaves it out there. He knows how the media is. He knows how things go. He took full ownership of he should have done a better job. He was just pissed off yesterday. I applaud him for that. That's the most I've seen him take responsibility for this season. All right, was there a question?
All right, so do you fire Ron Rivera?
All right, so if you want my full details about this, go watch Dish Divided.
Nope. I'm asking you now.
All right, there are 3 questions that get posed as far as the Ron Rivera thing. Should you fire Ron Rivera? No, fuck it. I'm not going to do all that. I'm not firing Ron Rivera. I'm frustrated with where the team is. I'm not the sky is falling, I think, like other people are.
Okay.
But I think the context of Ron Rivera and what he means to the team, somebody just make sure you stop me before I go too long on this, okay? But there's a thought process behind this. If you look at Washington's head coaches over the last 20 years, you got to look at who we've been able to even entice to get here, right? So Ron Rivera gets here back in 2019 or 2020 after we let go of Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden was a hot coordinator coming out of Cincinnati. The only reason he got there was because of the Bruce Allen Gruden family connection. And we also backed up a Brinks Trucking game, a 5-year deal for a first-time head coach. The only deal that's dumber than that is what they gave Matt Rhule in Carolina. Before we had Jay Gruden, we had Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan, the way that ended, if you ask Kyle Shanahan if he'd ever work for the Washington organization, he'd bitch slap you. There's no chance that he'd ever work for us. Why? Because of the way that shit ended. Before Mike Shanahan, it was Jim Zorn. Jim Zorn was only head coach because they hired him as an offensive coordinator before they hired a head coach. Couldn't find anybody that wanted the head coaching job. Josh McDaniels said no. Steve Spagnuolo said no. The only guy that wanted to say yes was Jim Fossil. If you remember him from the Giants way back, and no one wanted him. So they promoted Jim Zorn. Before Jim Zorn was head coach, we had Joe Gibbs, who had to retire because the team was hurting his heart. Like literally. Then before Joe Gibbs, you had Steve Spurrier, who we had to back up the Brinks truck, and then he ran down to South Carolina to go coach the Gamecocks with all the fucking money we had that gave him to go fucking build a golf course. Every single coach that we've had here, we've basically had to beg, plead to get them here. And every time they've left under the worst possible circumstances with nothing positive to say. The only reason Ron Rivera even took the job was he had to go down to the Carolinas and have a full day with Joe Gibbs convincing him that it was okay to take the job. We can't afford, as an organization, to let go of Ron Rivera because there's nobody waiting in the wings that is going to elevate this franchise in any sort of meaningful way. You got to give Ron Rivera credit for when he got here. Ashburn was the biggest shit show probably in any front office in the league. And he rectified a lot of that. But what I'm also seeing behind the scenes, after you see the photo a couple weeks ago of Daniel Snyder with Jerry Jones, and after Dan Snyder a couple weeks ago also hired Gene Medina to be our new Tony Wiley, Dan's repositioning his power and letting everybody fucking know I'm back. That's something to look out for. And if you're talking about a league in which if you're going to try to entice the next Mike McDaniels or the Sean McVays or something to come in there, you got to give them full roster control, and you got to know that the dude that's going to be up in the ownership box is going to fuck with you. And what does that mean? He's not going to – if we lose out the rest of the games, I have a top 5 pick, you're not going to be in a situation where, hey, you're going to go draft Dwayne Haskins because my son goes to school with him. Or before that, hey, we know you like Kirk Cousins, but you're going to draft RG3 anyway. So you draft 2 fucking quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds. You always have somebody meddling. This is not a job that a lot of people fucking want. I think we have to make the best out of this particular situation. And I also think with this team, there are some pieces in place that give me some promise. If Carson Wentz is not the guy and we have to get rid of him going in this season, which I think everybody's on the same page with that, you see what Sam Howell can do. You see if you can draft a quarterback. You do what you can on the offensive line because you're going to have a lot of money saved after Carson Wentz leaves. The skills position players, Jahan Dotson wasn't even in this last fucking game. You saw De'Ami Brown after getting shat on by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Had 2 catches for 50-something yards each for touchdowns. We got our deep threat guys with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and Antonio Gibson catching the ball out of the backfield. The skills position players look legit. The defense was all over Ryan Tannehill's ass, with Chase Young still standing on the sidelines. Cam Curl, our safety, is the highest rated safety in the league, according to PFF. We have some pieces. We just need to put other things in line.
Okay, cool.
So his name is Sam Howell. Cool.
Yes.
So with that said, how good are the Cowboys?
The Cowboys are
Their defense is amazing.
Yeah.
Defense is great,
4-0.
but more important than that defense, the type of defense, the pass rush is great. And outside of the pass rush being great, when they realize that they're not a team that's built around throwing the ball 45 times a game, and that what they need to do is run the ball using Pollard and Zeke as a tandem, they can beat anybody.
Okay, that's fair. James?
Fuck them.
I think the Cowboys are a good, solid contender. I'm surprised because Mike McCarthy isn't that great of a coach in my eyes. He's a good coach, not a great coach. So I'm surprised that they're doing this well. But also, I think it speaks to what K-Dot's talking about in terms of, hey, maybe let's not try and throw the ball 35 times a game. Let's just see what we can do with the running game because we have 2 of the better running backs in the game. Zeke is healthy. Tony Pollard is a good change of pace back. I don't think he's a number 1 in another offense, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. But I think
K-Dot's fault.
What?
You said you wanted the Cowboys to win, so there's a quarterback controversy.
Yeah, it's happening.
You did say that. It's not really, but it is. But it's
kind of
not.
happening. They just had Keyshawn Johnson say they need to stick with Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw the ball
I don't take
like
ESPN
5 times.
seriously. But with that said, so I think they're contenders. I hope they don't like start losing when Dak gets back and like it becomes a real controversy where like, hey, put Cooper Rush back in. It's not like he's doing anything like just super amazing.
He's not doing anything.
You don't need to in that offense. That's the point.
So
every time the Dak comes back, when Dak comes back, no, what they're going to do is Kellen Moore, who's a fucking idiot, and Mike McCarthy, who's also a fucking idiot, are going to say, we got Dak back, throw it 45 times. And you know what? We don't have Amari Cooper. CeeDee Lamb, number 1 receiver. We're just going to throw it 45 fucking times. We got 2 running backs to complement each other perfectly.
They've got at least, I would say, probably like 3 more losses on their schedule through December 24th. But here's what they got. Well, actually 4 more. I think they lose to the Eagles on Sunday. But then they got the Lions at home, they got the Bears at home, they got the Packers on the road. I think they lose that one. They got the Vikings on the road. I think they lose that one. Giants at home, Colts on the road. Colts at home. I think they lose that one, to be honest. But then they got Texans, Jaguars, and Eagles again, which is probably another loss. But outside of that, like I see a situation where like they're like losing games. It's like a couple games that they should lose, and it's like Dak isn't the answer. I do worry about that. Like, and it's just noise. It's not true, but it will be just noise. But
it's about a black dude that's quarterback with tattoos. It's already an issue in Dallas that everybody's just sort of like, as long as we win games, we're not going to say anything about it. And you got this fucking Cooper Rush guy who reminds everybody of fucking like Tony Romo 2.0. Here's the unheralded dude that comes in and just does it.
You mean
I love this shit
because Dak was Tony Romo 2.0.
Oh, fair enough.
With that said, are the Eagles a Super Bowl contender? Yes or no?
Yes.
I'm gonna start. No.
Okay.
I said yes. I think early on in the season, before the season, just based on the moves they made in the offseason and the fact that their defense is pretty all right, and they got a number 1 receiver over there now, and a solid ass number 2.
I say no because I think you need to be pretty balanced on both sides of the ball in terms of like just quality. I think they're stronger on defense than they are on offense. I think in the playoffs that the Jalen Hurts thing is going to kind of blow up for a little bit. It's just, and it's not necessarily indicative of his ability. Actually, it is because he has the weapons. I just don't think he's good enough yet. I think he needs to make another stride, make another leap. He's been good though this year so far, but I think that stuff will show up in the playoffs when teams like have some time to game plan against him.
I think I saw a stat that in this many career starts, he has more touchdowns than Lamar did, and of like I think 100 and something less yards. But he's on pace right now where Jalen Hurts, I think the running ability for what Jalen Hurts is doing for that team is one of those things that I don't think people are calculating correctly just yet.
Right. Real quick, what has Lamar done in the playoffs?
Not a goddamn thing.
So when I say what Jalen, it's not. I don't want to be disrespectful when I say he's great value, Lamar, but he's like,
all right. Who
but here's the thing. He's great value, Lamar, with more weapons than Lamar has.
With better weapons.
And that's a big deal.
Weapons. I think the great value part is only on the running aspect, but throwing, I don't
know. I think it's all over.
AJ Brown and fucking Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. I'd take that.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about in terms of his skill. He said in terms of running aspect. No, in terms of like Jalen Hurts passing, he's still great value, Lamar, in my opinion.
All right. Look, I will say this: as far as the NFC East as a whole, I'm not going to say which teams, but I had 3 teams finishing with double-digit wins. Just saying, NFC East, NFC Beast, we're the shit. I mean, the division is shit.
All right,
Commanders are some shit.
Let's hit some picks for next week. Let's go ahead and start with Cowboys Eagles since that's what we were talking about. I obviously already said I'm taking the Eagles. I think the Cowboys have beaten the Eagles in the last 3 games. In the last, I want to say 9, they have a winning record against the Eagles, but I think the Eagles are a better team right now.
Eagles.
I'm taking the Cowboys. I think some weird shit is going to happen, and they're going to win the game.
Okay. All right.
I just think Eagles at home.
It's like prime time, though.
So I know. That means Philly's going to be loud.
Yeah. And I can see Michael Irvin give him a halftime pep talk. Might
And
work
some
for
crack
him.
rocks. So, thanks.
All right. So let's stick with the NFC East. Washington plays Chicago on Thursday. I'm taking Washington.
Washington.
Oh shit.
It could go bad.
It could.
I mean, I don't see it.
I don't want to see it, but it could.
49ers at Falcons.
49ers.
Niners. Patriots at Browns.
Patriots. Yo, the Bears might not score.
Browns.
I said the Patriots.
I'm going Browns, and I'm not, I like the I think the Patriots are good.
I'm going Browns.
Wait,
Jets,
we got
Packers.
we got to talk about them two corners at some point. Them two rookie corners is nice. They let go of J.C. Jackson, and they got some
Bill's doing what he does, man. Coaching that defense up.
Jets at Packers. I'm going Packers.
Packers.
Yep.
All right. Jaguars at Colts. Who you guys got?
Going Colts.
I don't like the percentages of people that are picking the Packers though, but I do pick the Packers. I got the Jags beat. The Colts can't beat the Jags.
All right. I'm going Colts at home. Vikings at Dolphins.
Vikings.
Same.
I had Vikings, but the way I
who's playing quarterback for Miami?
That's what makes me want to switch because I feel like Tua's gonna play and then they're gonna win.
I think it's gonna be Teddy.
I thought Teddy's out.
Can I have a caveat? If Tua plays, I'm taking Dolphins.
All right, but Teddy didn't have any symptoms. That's why people were like, "Why the fuck couldn't he come back in the game?" Like he passed all the tests and everything. I know they are scared. It's been like a.
I'm gonna go Vikings, but if Tua plays, I'm taking Dolphins. All right, so moving on. Bengals at Saints.
I'll go first. I'm gonna take the Bengals, but I struggle with this one.
Bengals, I did not struggle.
Bengals, no struggle, but Taysom Hill's a wild card.
Ravens at Giants. I am taking the Ravens.
Giants.
I love it. Buccaneers at Steelers.
Bucks.
You know what? Steelers.
Sam's trying to make up some ground.
Broken clock is right. Once a day, I'm also taking the Steelers.
Wow. Mario.
Panthers at Rams.
Yeah.
Rams.
Who's playing QB for the Panthers?
Doesn't matter. Rams.
Nobody.
Cardinals at Seahawks. I'm going Cardinals.
Same here, Cards, and this was one I did struggle with.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. Now this is the game of the week, in my opinion. Bills.
Whose opinion would it not be that this is game of the week? What idiot would say this isn't the game of the week?
Apparently the TVs, because they're not on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Bills.
I'm going Bills.
Same. Fuck the Chiefs.
Okay. We already did Cowboys at Eagles. Last game, Broncos at the Chargers. I would like James to go first.
This game isn't going to be as a blowout as people think it's going to be because Denver's defense is pretty good and they got some pieces back.
Yeah.
They just put like 3 or 4 people off of IR. Surtain is that dude. If Keenan Allen doesn't play, it's gonna be a problem because he's gonna lock up Mike Williams. But I gotta go with the Chargers.
Chargers, let's ride.
I struggled with this one.
That's disgusting.
I struggled with this one, and then I looked at the Broncos' schedule and said, "Oh, this is their Mayday loss." They have this loss, and then I think they either have a easy game or a bye week after, and then a bye week. I can't remember. It's either a bye week and an easy game or easy game and a bye week, which I expect them to win the next game. But they lose this one, and I think they go in a little like, hey, let's figure this shit out mode. I think they get into real let's figure this shit out mode, and let's make some shit easier. Russ, I don't know if we've been running the offense through Russ. If that comes to an end now. And we're gonna run some play action. We're just gonna run the ball, and you're gonna do what we tell you to do. And
that would work if their running backs weren't hurt.
No, they still got Melvin Gordon, and Boone was good in his last game.
They're running the offense through Nathaniel Hackett.
Yes, we're running the offense through Nathaniel Hackett. But basically, I feel like they lose this game, but then they have like a moment where it's like, but also I'm gonna just give you guys their schedule for the rest of the for the next few games. So here it is. So they play on Monday night. I think they lose to the Chargers. Got the Jets at home, Jaguars on the road, Titans on the road. This is a very winnable game, but they could lose this game too. Got the Raiders at home. Then they got the Panthers on the road. Just saying, like in that next crop of 6 games or so, a lot of winnable games after you lose this one. You lose this one and you reel out 5 straight, you're 7-4.
They can lose.
They won't do that.
Okay.
They could definitely lose to the Jaguars.
Okay. They
can go ham.
I mean, a lot of things could happen. The Raiders could have been a good team, but they're not.
No, they are a good team. They just could have been 4-1.
You are your record. You said it.
What your record is. So they're not a good team.
Okay.
So with that said, I'm taking the Broncos. I mean the Chargers.
This nigga, what? Just listen to that shit.
But yeah, all right. So final thoughts.
I got none. I'm ready to leave.
Okay. House of the Dragon. It's been great. No spoilers here, but it's been great. That last episode was amazing. I think Daemon Targaryen might be my favorite character in the TV Thrones universe. I love him. He's a real asshole. And I love a good asshole type of character. And I think Matt Smith has done a wonderful job. I never watched Doctor Who with him as the doctor, but I hope he was great because I've enjoyed him. Also, I hate that he was in Morbius. He had to suffer and go through that. But he is great in House of the Dragon. I'm looking forward to more. Also, shout out to Aemon Targaryen as well. I think he's going to be that dude. I think he's going to be one of those ones that people are going to love, even if he's a villain or a hero. I don't know. It just depends on your perspective. Patty Constantine. I think Patty, was it Constantine or Constantine? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But he's done a great job as Viserys. His last episode was Emmy worthy, in my opinion. And yeah, that's it. It's been a great show so far.
All right. The refs suck. NFL refs are terrible. They've fucked up so many games already this year. They've ruined a few games. The Chris Jones, strip sack. It shouldn't have been called, but they called it based on their rules. But when you look at the replay, they were a little off. Yeah, this is such an easy fix because if we can all see this shit and say, no, that's not right, before the next play is snapped, somebody can call the refs and say, hey, that's not right, and change it to this, or go take a look or something. They have iPads and instant replays all over the fucking stadium. You can make this change where you don't ruin the game.
I agree.
I just think it's rehauling. I mean, I think if you do that, then just get rid of referees and have everything come from New York.
You can't necessarily do that.
I just think if you're going to do that after every play, you're undermining the referee's job as a whole. So why do they exist?
No, just a clear and obvious error, just like how they do.
But that's the thing. If it's not clear and obvious, but we can tell it's fucking wrong, and they have the ability to call it. That was
clear and obvious.
But that's my thing is that if I'm looking at it, there is a system in which, because the technology exists, that you have a guy that's there as a referee that's basically just giving off information from an office that happens in New York where they have all the replays available.
And that's kind of like when you have a play that's called and then they say after we convened, it's
we talked about this before. The fact that I still think it's complete and utter horseshit that there are human beings right now that can take aware of everything that happened and say the ball was clearly right there on the field and we just trust them. Or they still have 2 fucking sticks that they put a chain between that fucking marks where it is we got 1st and 10, where you can put a microchip in a football. You can fucking GPS load coordinate it. I could find my iPhone fucking app and figure out exactly what corner my goddamn phone is in. And you're talking a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, and it's, hey, I'm going to throw my hat over there because that's where the ball was.
You were outside.
Get the fuck out of here.
I think part of that shit is just
tradition.
That and to keep it interesting.
But it's got boring after Ed Hockley left. All right, I'm out. I'm done.
That's true. But yeah, they gotta fix that shit sooner rather than later.
Yep, I agree.
All right, gents.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.